2024 is shaping up to be a stellar class. If we reach 10 wins again this year, could the class of 25 be truly elite? I'm going to ask it a little bit differently. I know I've asked that question. Wins a big factor, not a huge factor in recruiting. Where do you put that?
I think that it matters. I think the more you can stack, 10-win seasons, it matters. I still think you got to, I don't think kids are going, well, they won 10 2 years in a row. I'm definitely going to go to Tennessee. I think you might see that with, Georgia right now because they won back-to-back national titles, and Alabama's won, half dozen under Nick. But, I think, it's just different. It takes a while to get there. I know Tennessee fans don't understand that, but the recruiting base here and the recruiting base in Georgia is two different things. And so, it's just different. And so I think that there's some different avenues, but I think the biggest thing you got to look at here, look at the rest of this class. I think this class is really good. Currently, they're ranked 6th, 7th, depending on the day, depending on who's committing. Let's say they add a Koye and maybe one more highly profile guy. You're going to be in the top 10 at that point, in my opinion. What's it take to get to the top 5? I don't think it matters because I think when I look at last year's class, it was just outside the top 10. And I'm sitting here saying that I think when you look back 5 or 6 years from now, it has a chance to be one of the best classes in the last, 30 years, just as far as guys they hit on the hit rate. And so I think that's most important. And I think the one thing you can't forget about too is technically any of these transfers count towards the class too. When you look at committed lists. So Dante Thornton and all these guys you just named, a year from now, what's that look like, with the class? Are they still landing mostly 4- and 5-star guys? Very few 3-stars. There's going to be a few in every class. But mostly 4- and 5-star guys and then hitting on the right type of transfers. If you're doing that, then you're progressing as a program.
Yeah, well, and again, you're exactly right. And, Rob, it also gets back to who you're beating out for some guys. And some guys we're talking about here, you're beating out David Hobbs. Who'd you beat out for?
Georgia and Alabama.
Arian Carter.
Arian Carter. That's where you're at. To get there, you got to stack wins over those guys in recruiting. Tennessee did that a year ago. We'll see what that class looks like coming out in 24.
It's not like Butch beating West Virginia and Maryland out for a Florida 4-star.
Yeah, it's different. It's a little bit of who you beat. And that's not a knock on the rankings, and that's not a knock on Butch. It's different, when you're beating out somebody straight up against the people you're chasing in this league year in and year out.
Hey, I figured out what Rob's nickname is. I'm going to start calling him Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as time. Rob's bashing on Butch.
How disappointing for the staff is it to lose in-state kids you recruit multiple years only to have Bama or Clemson offer in the spring of their senior year and land them, being two examples of that, Amari Jefferson and Ronan O'Connell?
It's never fun, but at the same time, this is not some kind of new deal. I outlined it, on I think in a podcast here recently, but I can go back over it really quick here. In 2016, Tennessee landed 2 of 11 4-stars or better. 17, 4 of 13. 18, 3 of 11. 19, 2 of 13. 20 is the outlier, 5 of 9. That was the Big O, Bryson Eason, that group. Tyler Barron, Cooper Mays. 21, 1 of 9. 22 with the investigation stuff overhanging you, 0 for 13. 2 of 8 in 23, and 4 of 10 in 24. So, it's, again, you go back and look at it and you go, well, that kid never played at that school. That wasn't a miss for Tennessee. You can look at several of those. Even the ones last year when Tennessee was, 2 for 8, there were probably 3 of those or two or three of those that were quarterbacks. Well, you weren't going to recruit a couple of those kids because why? You had Nico.
Right.
So, it happens quite frequently, just like Tennessee's able to pluck high-end guys out of other states. It just kind of is what it is. Again, got to worry about the ones you get, not the ones you lose. But, the only ones that you feel are when the ones make plays. When T. Higgins and Amari Rogers made plays, you felt it. When Randall Cobb made plays, you felt it. When Jacob Phillips and Jacoby Stevens are winning a national championship at LSU and making plays, you felt it. You didn't feel it when a bunch of these other guys go to these other schools and you don't see it.